Welcome to the Indie Author Showcase. I am multi-award winning author Chad Robert Morgan, and today's episode is brought to you by the United Sock Council. Socks. It's what's on your feet. Okay, no, not really. But I thought I'd have some fun until I get some real sponsors. Anywho, so we just came back from halfway to Hall-Lore-Ween Festival. Now, this is only the second year they've done this. So, how was it? Well, let me give you my review of the festival. Overall, I say it went pretty well. The biggest drawback to the festival was it was outside and the weather did not cooperate. That's always a risk when you do outside festivals. Now, I talked to the event organizer, and she apparently had that criticism, and she's like, no, this feels like an outdoor event. This really needs to be outdoors. And she did have like carnival rides there. Like, this was pretty this wasn't just setting up a bunch of vendor tables and having some celebrity signings. They had all kinds of haunt mazes, sort of like what they do at Midsummer Scream. And, there was like about 3 or 4 carnival rides, a lot of food vendors. I mean, it was a festival, right? So I agree with her that she would have had her hands tied if she tried to make it indoor, and it would have been just another horror con. So I agree with her that putting it outside was probably the right choice for what she wanted to do. It was just unfortunate that the weather did not want to cooperate. The first day was very, very hot. Not very, very hot, actually. It was not a bad day, but I got a lot of sun, got me a little bit sunburned. By Sunday, it was pouring rain by the time we were packing out. I mean, again, you can't control the weather. And the bugs were a major issue at night. There was one booth that sold some like all natural canola oil thing that like I bought this thing from Home Depot to chase away the mosquitoes, and it was supposed to work with like a 25-foot radius or something like that. And I was seeing mosquitoes roughly the size of labradoodles. I mean, they were huge. So I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit panicking here because my booth is starting to look like the plague house here. Found the vendor, got the spray that she was selling. Worked a hell of a lot better. All the mosquitoes left, and the gnats didn't completely go away, but they dropped from like 1,000,000 to like maybe a few hundred. You know what I'm saying? The other thing I did was I had way too, because I always over prepare, right? I'm always, what if this light goes out? Let's have 3 extras, that kind of thing. So I had a light in every corner and one in the center. And even that first day, I didn't have the center light on until towards the end, when the other 4 had kind of drained. So they were still on, but they weren't as bright. So then I turned the middle one on to compensate. But it had like super bright, like a white light mode, and then they had like more of a natural light mode. So I switched that down to the natural light mode, and that attracted less bugs, so that helped too. But it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, how do you light it up and then not have, swarms of mosquitoes coming after you at the same time? So it was, again, the issues that you have when you're doing an outdoor event that you don't have when you're doing something like Monster Palooza. So, but other than the bugs and the weather, I think she drew really decent crowds. We did okay, but my fellow other indie authors seemed to have been selling like 2 to 3 times more than I was, which really kind of begs the question: what the hell was I doing wrong? But I was comparing notes to some with they actually grouped us. We were all in authors row there, and we were comparing and contrasting, and they were like really outselling me, which was a bit of a head scratcher. Not that their stuff isn't good or anything like that, but it's like, I think one of the reasons why they were doing better, uh, first of all, one of the guys, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. I don't like mentioning other authors by name until I've reviewed their books, because I don't want to say, hey, Joe Schmo was a really cool dude and everything like that, and then never review his book, because that implies that we didn't like his book, right? And you can, if you watch a podcast, you can kind of deduce that. It could also be that I haven't just gotten to his book, because my TBR list keeps growing, right? So it could also create a false impression that I didn't like his book, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So I don't like talking about indie authors until I review their work, for that reason. But one of them I'm going to review today. The other one, I have his book. I have to read it. Two of them, actually. There was a coffee place, and one of the people there was selling his book. So technically there was three other indie authors beside myself. And I have all their books. They're on my TBR list. One I got through because for this podcast, because it was short, and we'll get to that in a minute. The others, once I review the books, I'll talk about them and I'll say what I think about the person, which of course they were all fantastic. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So the one guy, he had like a photo op thing set up, which was really cool, and it was like attracting viewers, because people would want to get their picture taken. And his whole booth, his father-in-law built like this whole facade with the lights coming out and everything like that. And it was probably like the most like professional looking, like this was something that you can almost see like maybe at like Knott's Berry Farm. Like I could see it like at Knott's Berry Farm at a special event, like a Halloween event kind of thing, right? Not as a permanent structure, but as something that they put up for like a seasonal thing, like a temp thing. Like it was that good a quality, right? I've seen things of that quality temporarily at Disneyland kind of thing. So I mean, it was just very well done, and I mean, if that doesn't attract customers, I don't know what the hell does. My other neighbor, his advantage was he didn't just bring horror books to the horror thing. In fact, he didn't even just bring his own. He brought other people's books, so he had a variety. I wonder. This is the debate we've had in the house, is because I do two franchises right now. I do horror, which is The Last Ride. That's the franchise. And then I do my sci-fi comedy, which is Intergalactic Space Force. And when I do these horror events, I don't bring the comedy because it doesn't fit. But there's been on rare occasion when I had somebody go, hey, why didn't you bring those books? I would have bought that one. And we had him next to me selling various genres that just weren't horror. So maybe there's a certain logic to bring your non-horror books to the horror convention. I don't know. I am going to propose that question. Please, viewers, all three of you, let me know. Write back. Email me. Message me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that idea. So getting back to the festival itself, yeah, I would say it was an above average success. Again, the weather didn't cooperate. But other than that, I think it went rather well. And this is only the second year they've done it, so hopefully she will keep building on this success. And the next year will be even bigger, and then bigger, and so on. Because there was definitely room for more. They could have had bigger crowds. I mean, the crowds were a good size, especially on Saturday. Saturday went really well. At one point, there was this big line to go into one of the spook houses that was just huge, right? So she was getting a decent number of people to show up, but you can always do more, right? what's better than a line that goes around the block? The line that goes around the block and then down the street another mile, you know? Um, but yeah, no, she got a lot of people to show up. And hopefully that means that they'll tell their friends how awesome it was, and next year even more people will show up. So I was promoting the event, and I was promoting my new book, Fear, which came out Friday, a week from when this thing airs, this episode. And I started getting the spam messages from the Instagram. Hey, I can help promote your book, paid review, all this kind of stuff. And I'm mostly hesitant. It's like there's like, someone is $20 and she's got like 5,000 views. I'm like, it's not worth it. Keep going. I did do it once or twice. Just I was like, here's $50. Put it on there. I mean, you got like 1 million viewers, 1 million subscribers. I don't know if it's going to help or if I just wasted money. But so one guy hits me up and says, "Oh, well, I do it for free." It's okay. Free's right in my price range. I like free. And he does all the things. He says, "Well, maybe when you're done, you can donate to my charity." I was like, "Okay, there's the ask. There's the money. Okay, fine. Well, we'll see." And he gives this long, flowing review. It's fantastic and everything like that. And then you can kind of see that he's hesitating to post it because he's waiting for So I donated 20. He starts posting. It's like, could you donate some more? Most people give more. Well, now he's starting to post it. So I'm like, okay, give him another 20. Never did see it show up on Amazon, but that's all right. But once that got posted, I started getting reams of people asking me to, hey, would you like a paid review? Would you like me to put it on my site and everything like that? And some of them were weird. And what I mean by that is, like, I'm selling a book and I'm getting like Manly Global Gym, would you like to get some answer me? I mean, it's like, what the hell, man? It's like, I had like this magazine hit me up and I looked it up and everybody's like, no, the magazine's not legit. There was one for like beauty products and they wanted to promote it, and I was like, but it's not a beauty product, right? It's got a picture of a demon cat with a body next to it. It's like, you see how that doesn't really fit? So I'm going to ask again the audience here, my fellow indie authors, what promotions have you done that have worked? What influencers do you know that you feel are legitimate? Have you ever done something like Social Cat, where they pair you with a social influencer? I tried Social Cat once, and it was nice because it does kind of act like a filter out the scammers kind of thing. I stopped using it because it really wasn't geared for authors. At least when I used it. Maybe they've improved it since then. But that was really nice because then you could go like, oh, here are the people that will do it, basically for a free copy of your book. Here's the people that will do it if you pay them $10,000, and everywhere in between, right? And it would sort it by audience. If you're looking for a big audience, you have money to spend, you can find this person. If you have no money, you can hook up with a budding influencer that also has like no audience, and you can work together to try to build each other up. So it's a good program. It's a good system. It just wasn't at the time something that worked well for authors. Like I was trying to find book reviews and stuff like that, and it would just come up blank. You're doing makeup stuff, Social Cat, go for it. But maybe it's improved. But as an influencer, are you having that problem by people thinking that you're just a scam, right? Are you finding that you are building your audience? As a author or a publisher, are you finding that you are getting scammed by some of these people, or are you finding ones that are legitimate? Please let me know. I would love to start curating some feedback on this. Because again, this is the purpose of the podcast, is for indie authors to help other indie authors. And the first way to do that is to just share information. If there is a review site or a review company that you've had success with, if you've been successful with, say, Facebook ads or Amazon ads, let us know what your experience is so we can share it with everybody else. And if you've had a bad experience, you tried Joe Schmo's PR firm or something like that, and you lost your shirt, let me know that too, so we know to avoid Joe Schmo's PR firm. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, let me know. Are you getting swarmed with people wanting to review your book? Are they even in your native language? I don't know. It's like I've gotten some weird stuff here. All right. So now with that out of the way, let's go on to the book review. So today's book, which I met at Halfway to Halloween, is Hall-Lore-Ween by Josh Spero. With all its lovely glare. All right, there we go. We'll put the image up. That's fine. So let me start by saying that Josh is just like the nicest guy, right? So I was talking about how we got rained out on Sunday, and it's kind of hard to. Our booth got rained out. It's kind of hard to sell people books when they have to wade through an inch of swamp water to get to your stuff, right? So the event organizers immediately found another place. Several people bugged out because of the rain, and to the event organizers' credit, they were like, okay, no harm, no foul, we get it. Rain and she was telling me, it says, I know you're selling books. Rain and paper don't go well together, so if you got to bug out. But we had prepared. All our stuff was in plastic bins, so everything was maybe not waterproof, but enough to, fight off the rain. So we were fine. And so we had to move all of our stuff to another spot. And the other authors of Indie Row just geared up and helped lift things and everything like that, as well as the event organizer. In fact, Josh and his family probably did more to help me move than anybody else. The other indie authors there, they were also helping, but like one guy was by himself. The event organizer started to help, then he left, and another event organizer came to help. So I mean that was fine, but Josh was there like with his whole clan, right? He was there with a whole group of people, and they all just pitched in and helped, and it was just a small army of people helping us move at that point, which was just fantastic. And they were just, I mean, Josh is just a very buoyant, happy, smiling guy. It is hard not to like this guy. You can see why this guy's selling books, because he's just one of those guys that's just like radiating, hey, he's just fantastic, right? And his booth was just so immaculately done. Immaculately? There we go. It was, I mean, it's just fantastic booth. I'll throw up some pictures if I have it. And he had that photo op, which again was a great idea because people were going to the photo op because everybody likes having their picture taken. Josh's book. Let's get to Josh's book. Josh's book is definitely very PG. It's not the kind of book I kind of want to read because again, it was very kind of saccharine sweet kind of thing. But it's a great book for younger readers, right? And again, I mean, my horror. I want some horror in my horror, right? This is good old fashioned trick or treating kind of stories, right? This is the kind of story you tell when you're in a costume and you're knocking on doors asking for candy, right? This is like suitable for all ages. This is a Disney Halloween kind of special kind of thing. If you got younger readers, this is a perfect book for you. It's a collection of 3 short stories with a few poems in between. And he's currently working on volume 2. So the second story is going to come out soon. It's an easy read. again, the stories are meant for a younger audience. The writing is meant for a younger audience. Um, Definitely your elementary school, middle school kids book. I would highly recommend this book for younger readers. It is fantastic for that. The artwork is phenomenal. In fact, I got to briefly meet the illustrator because she showed up on Saturday for signings, and uh, she was a sweet, warm, wonderful person as well. Uh, so definitely check out Hall-Lore-Ween, Hall-Lore-Ween, right? By Josh Spero, Spero. Fantastic book, fantastic person. And if you have a young reader in your life, this is a perfect entry into the things that go bump in the night. So let me wrap up by telling you one other anecdote that happened a couple times at halfway to Halloween. Is I had a couple people want pictures of me with them with the book. Oh, I've never met a real author before. Um, and I will admit, I went with it, I smiled and everything. I was a little uncomfortable with that, not because of, I felt a little undeserving, if that makes any sense. I'm not Stephen King, I'm not Neil Gaiman here. I'm just this guy that's self publishing a few books and trying to share his story. So, I would joke, I said, I wish I was a bigger author to make for a bigger picture. Um, I did feel a little of that imposter syndrome when they're asking me to take the picture with them. I felt it was rude to say no, but I also felt like I was posing to say yes. So I was kind of rocking a hard place there. Um, but it was really complimentary to have people go, "Oh, I want a picture with the real author and everything like that." So thanks to those, and there was about 2 or 3 people that wanted that, which was really, again, I thought a little surprising. But special thanks to that, because that was a big morale boost for an indie author. And the biggest thing you can do to help an indie author, if you like the book, is leave a review. I did have another thing that happened at halfway to Halloween was I had repeat business. I had people say, "Oh, I read that book." Yeah, I had one person come in and says, "Yeah, my husband bought me that book yesterday. I've already read it. It was fantastic." So, "Can I interest you in the next one?" Why do you do that to me? Because I need to make boothies. Okay, what's this one about? That kind of. Had people that met me at other conventions and said, "Well, the new one's out." Ooh, that kind of thing. That's where you want to be as an author, where you're building up your audience. Um, and to me, there's 2 different approaches. You can make sales or you can make customers. And I'm trying to make customers. I want to establish a bit of a relationship with the customers. I want them to know that I'm not going to sell them a bad book, that I'm not going to sell them something that they don't want. If they're not happy with the content of my book, I try to let them know up front so they can make an informed decision. I don't want anybody getting the book, going home and going, "Oh my God, this has got monsters in it." No, put the monsters right on the cover. Let them know. You know, I think I get less sales, but I get more repeat customers, and at least that's the hope. That's the goal, and I'm starting to see that. I'm starting to see people come in and say, "Oh, you were right about that book. That book was fantastic. I got that book at Creep IE. I got that book at um, uh, Monsterpalooza or something." And it's like, "Oh yeah, it was fantastic. I love that book." So it also kind of brings up kind of the quandary is that I'm starting to see some of the same faces. Um, so that's why I'm starting to branch out a little bit. I'm going to go to the Hot Mare Expo in Fresno because I need to kind of get away from the LA Orange County area. Not that I'm going to quit the LA Orange County area, but I need some growth. I need to spread. I need to spread the gospel. No, that's not freaky at all. Um, I need to spread my reach, so I'm known outside of this small pocket of the United States where I can drive to. Um, Fresno is going to be an interesting experience. So we're going to see if it is successful or if it winds up costing more money than it was worth to trying to branch out and expand my audience outside of the Riverside, Orange County, Los Angeles County area. So I will definitely give you updates on that. But our next event, May 24th, will be Pasadena Comic Con. It's usually in January, but it was postponed due to the Palisades and Altadena fires. The week after that, I'm right back in Pasadena for Monsterpalooza. This is probably the biggest event that I do in the year. Especially now that Monsterpalooza is expanding. They're taking over the theater. So we're going to have the entire convention center. Plus, I believe it's the theater next door. So, way more vendors than there were last year at Monsterpalooza. Then in, I believe it's July, will be Hauntmare Expo that I talked about. Then in September will be probably the second biggest event that I do all year, which is Creep IE Aftermath. And Aftermath and Creep IE in February, they're in the same convention hall. They're roughly the same size. Aftermath, I don't think draws as big a crowd, but they're both the same convention center and they're both filled. So, I mean, size-wise, they're the same. So Creep IE Aftermath will be in September. After that, I'm planning on checking out the event over in Chandler, Arizona. That's hosted by Terror Trader. I've heard good things about that, but the wife won't let me sign up to events without checking them out first, which is probably a good idea. She is the smart one in the family. It is better to spend $100 to drive out there, check it out, and make sure it's something worth doing, than spend $500 hauling cargo and getting a hotel room and everything like that, and realizing it's not for me, and then coming all the way back. But if it goes well, I might try to sign up for it for next year. And I'm actually very optimistic. I've heard very good things about this one. Then in the end of October, somewhere in October, I don't know the exact date off the top of my head, will be Son of Monsterpalooza. And that should be our event schedule for the year. So if you buy one of my books at Barnes & Noble on Amazon, and you bring it to the event, I'll autograph it after the fact. Also, I had a thought, I lost it. But yes. So catch us at any one of these events. If you already have a copy of my book, bring it over. I'll be more than happy to autograph it for you. Also, check out our store at shopspectralink.com, where you can find other things such as t-shirts, coffee mugs, blankets. And don't forget our Patreon at podbean.patreon.com/indieauthorshowcase to help support the podcast. You can also buy our merch at shopspectralink.com. So with that, let's wrap up this episode. And guys, let's keep on reading.